Hi, hello, welcome. Thank you very much. This is episode 3 of the new series, The Journey of Education. This is a holistic conversation with specialists and educators and parents, and we're sharing our wisdom and our insight with when it comes to the many choices of education, not just for our children, but for ourselves too. And we're even talking about the pressure behind those choices. But I'm very excited. My guest today is familiar with me. She's been on Homeschool Moms and the High Vibe Human Experience Hangout. And she was one of the first I thought to help launch this series because she is the fabulous Kelly Meehan. Welcome, Kelly. How are you?
Oh, thank you for that intro. I know there's so much we go back into with this
Yes.
living in Cali and it's homeschooling, unschooling, non-public system schooling.
Freedom. Yes. Well, I have to do
schooling.
freedom schooling. I did want to share that Kelly is a New Earth children mentor. You work with children. She's a spirit baby medium. She's a medical intuitive, and she's the perfect one I wanted to talk to about, in particular, our topic, unschooling and forest schools, which all are under the umbrella of homeschooling. But she has 2 children that are both in that avenue right now, and we both have experience within it. So yeah, we have so much we can talk about that I'm like, let's just harness it in and let's get to the roots of unschooling and forest schools. So you do have children in both schools, schooling, don't you?
Well, here's how it works with my, I moved out of state to a new place and we found the most incredible learning experience. I mean, I literally felt like the universe was like, here, what about this? It was just right down the road too. It was just so wild because that wasn't our intention of moving. We're not escaping. People do that. They escape to go, I can't be in this state and it's just overwhelming. But it was more of like unschooling for a little bit and going, what are we doing with these kids?
Yeah, right.
And with my older son, his name is Rain, and he's, he turned 14 and he started to change. Like his whole body's changed, his personality, his energy, and he's a teen. And what do you do with teens sometimes with, I feel like I've heard a lot of things with unschooling, homeschooling. What do you do with teens? There's a lot of pressure of like, they're such social beings and they really crave that, learning about the world and going out into the world and being a part of it. And for him, he didn't show any of those signs. He's like, he'd love to just hang out in the house and just do his thing. But we found this most amazing school called Forge, and it's boy like run. And the guides, they don't call them teachers, they're guides. And the way they've set it up is just, I literally was like in tears of joy.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
I've never felt that way because, we were doing Zoom school, we were doing other things, but he's getting older. And plus my Rain he's such a system fighter. He's a fighter.
That's awesome.
He's a resistor. Like that is in his beingness since he was young. So if he doesn't like something or it's like not interesting, it's very hard to focus him on, got to check the boxes, do the work. That's the pressure we have of like, because I'm schooled. So I've been like in that space. And then I'm like, a lot of the homeschool moms have really helped me. It's like you're unschooling yourself along the way.
We have to go through the process. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, it's a lot because education is a trigger to me. People have, it's a trigger. So I'm like, I watch that even in this great environment because there's a sense to me of authority, a higher up, and it brings stuff up. So I'm so awesomely, my husband, Rinny is like, I have him to be like, wait, is this my thing? Like I'm getting at like something's coming up. He's like, what are you talking about? It's fine. I was like, okay. Like, so I have to really, because it wasn't a very good experience for me. And so to see my child like have an amazing experience, like when he sampled them out the first time, I literally saw his whole energy body was completely different. I can tell he found a space of meaning and purpose.
That's so cool.
And then, of course he complains, I don't want to wake up. I was like so teenager. I was like, well, you got to wake up to go, And
Is
then,
it daily? Is it every
yeah,
day?
he's
Oh,
going like Monday through
I see.
Friday now.
Wow.
It was a
Okay.
few days a week. And then they actually they invited him. They wanted all the students to come full time.
Okay.
So
That's
he's like
really
full.
cool.
Yeah. So I was
So
like,
he's full in
oh,
it.
okay.
And is
He's
it in
full in it.
true nature of a forest school where it's outdoors, it's
So this is
hands-on, they're
what's so
building?
friggin' cool. This is what's
Uh-huh.
amazing. It's down in the old farm district, which is like it's 6 minutes drive into like just farms. And they have it looks like a lake, but it's a pond with a what is that thing that you can ride across the lake
Like a
on? I
zip
forgot.
line?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
a zip line, there's a dock, there's boating, there's fishing, and they
sweet.
have these teepees, but they're not what you think they are. They're like flooring, fireplace, rolling desks, like a full on. And then besides that, they do have these like structures where they just built a mechanic garage out of the barn. It's really cool because they have someone that came in that's going to do mechanics and teach the kids how to do that.
Awesome.
And
Oh,
so he
lost
learns.
art.
Yeah, he learns also from the more like tech world. They teach them and certify them in Adobe Photoshop. They learn about 3D printing, woodworking, wood cutting. Right now, Rain's loving. He's working on a canoe from a huge piece
Wow.
of wood. They're
It's
burning it and making
fantastic.
like they're like, well, I guess we'll see if it'll work. But it's like serious, like hands-on work, and he loves that. And there's a whole thing on survival, and like they did and they served it to us in one of the like open nights, like to come and see what's happening. And it was, what was it, dandelion, like funneled style, like almost dipped in like and fried. So they do like herbal nature stuff, and they'll have a classroom outside. They have these logs in this one area, weather permitting,
Mhm.
because and it's very much like, yeah, there's a bit of structure and that's good, but it's also like everyone's involved in something. Like you get the wood for the fire, you sweep up here. They
That's
all
great.
have I didn't get that in school, right? The
No,
janitor did
yeah.
it.
They all have a part
Like
to play to
it
keep
felt
it
like a
going.
prison. Now that I think of it, it was like a prison to be in school.
To
Sit in the
function
desk,
like
don't move. You can't go to the bathroom without the pass, or there's rules. Like there, you can go to the bathroom when you want, which is really important for our body autonomy. Like, I know we're in school, it's like you have to go and you're not allowed to. Like that to me is holding energy of manipulation
Oh,
and
sure.
teaching children this whole authoritative kind of thing. So,
Mhm.
and they could snack when they want. They have, a proper lunch and play, and they'll do sports and things, but
Mhm. Is there a
but they,
reason I'm sorry. Is
yeah.
it the like a brotherhood? Is there a reason it's all boys? Or is that just
So yeah, and
the
it goes
teen?
from age like 10, 11 to 18. The reason why is they found they couldn't get many girls in the beginning.
Mhm.
They weren't like committed. And then all of a sudden they had a bunch of boys and they saw the synergy. And to
Okay.
me, I was just talking to one of the guides, is like, I said, I see it as a brotherhood because
Yeah.
they're
That's
all
sacred.
very different. They're just and there is a brotherhood because and there's no distraction. They're just being their own guy selves, boy selves, like, and males have I'm a female, so I'm female brain and minded, but it can be like, to me, I'm like, oh, it's a lot of energy, but they're all like in synergy with that.
It's important.
And
It's protecting
yeah.
the divine masculine right there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then one of the things, Rain, they do, so they go all year round, but they cut it short in the summer with trips and vacations. And Rain had got to experience more of a summer experience with them, and he loved. I was nervous, but he came home and he loved white river rafting, not white,
Yeah.
but river rafting, like to the point where I'm like, I would never do that, and he was in his element.
That's awesome.
He was fearless. Like I'm like, did you fall? And he's like, no, but he did the whole jumping up, like really feeling like his name is Rain. He
He loves
actually
that
came
water.
home. I've never heard him say this. And he said, is that a job?
Oh, yay.
Never
And it
heard him say
is.
that. And
Yeah.
then one of the head guides there says it's what he used to do for years. He goes, well, if Rain ever wants to really explore that, I know people and connections. So,
Awesome.
and Rain is very like, he's so socially appropriate and socially like just, he's so friendly and so like connected. And I know people get scared about that, but I hear it from the guys. I hear it at scouts, like, oh, Rain is like, as Rain is not awkward. He's just like a social dude, like, hey, and he's very friendly and he's very like, engaged. So I know people get scared of that. So it's
Hmm.
almost like this schooling, this education, it's not I tell people it's holistic education, I call it, because they still kind of consider it a homeschool for some reason, but it's
Okay.
not,
Okay.
because it's not connected to any governments. It's not connected to any nonprofits. They are their own entity, and they just got this amazing grant last year, and I was so happy out of hundreds because they are not connected to all those things. And to me, this is the future of education, where
Ah,
people are
perfect.
running,
Their
and they do
own
have
thing.
curriculum. They do like read books, they do like math, but they're doing it, through like measurement, through
Through
like, yes,
child-led and
yes.
hands-on.
Not just sitting there like, I got to memorize all these
Memorize. Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
They're
they're getting
doing.
this certain curriculum through, certain, um, it's like we don't have to sit at a desk and stare at a freaking, screen all day. It's very hands on. And think about that kinesthetic, hands on learning, brain memory, because children, I feel, and maybe you understand this too, is they're natural learners.
Oh, they're meant to,
We don't really have to
that's
teach
the
them or
human nature.
push them, yeah, to like,
Mhm.
unless there's some learning issue, it's like they just naturally learn. Even with a
Yeah.
learning issue, they just naturally learn. But yeah.
Yes, I was gonna say, even with a learning issue, being hands-on and tactile or hearing or using their
Yeah.
senses is far more superior than just read this, memorize, and you're done.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I did. I memorized
I
my
did
whole
too.
reality.
Yeah, and I don't remember a darn
Me
thing
neither.
except the social and the times where I could shine, where I did what I loved, which
Yeah.
was drama and dance, and, I remember those classes, I remember those events. I cannot remember for the life of me sitting in a geometry class or something,
My
but I
favorite
I
part of
would have remembered
school
building.
yeah, my favorite part of school was leaving it.
Yeah. I was a very social I love the social,
Yeah,
but
that's a big one.
I would consider it then so foresty because it's out in the forest, but it's a technically kind of like an unschooling situation too. Which
Yeah.
I think people have a very misconception of what that is, but it's actually
Yeah.
quite legal in all 50 states and it's considered homeschooling. It's just there isn't a facilitator, like a guide or a parent. Your curriculum is what the child's interests are, and you just give them resources to develop those interests, and you can pivot the whole way through, but it is legal. Some think if you're unschooling, you're doing something wrong. To me, that was what we naturally gravitated to, especially in 2020. Sure, there was a Steiner philosophy underneath, but to me, it was like, what do you want to do? And let's find you a specialist for it. Very much on brand there. So your other son is a little bit more of the unschool route. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I laugh because for a while we're homeschool when we lived in California, and then we came to Oregon, and I'm going, we're like unschooled at this point because we are very much doing child led, and we're trying to like provoke. He's coming into this big energy of 9, right? And it's like, what does he want to do? And he's like, he's like, I don't know what I want to do. And I was like, oh, great. It's like,
Hey,
what is
that's a
interesting?
9-year
But we
change.
know that, yeah. So it's kind of like, okay. And I'm trying not to make it like, because I do get like, oh my gosh, am I doing it right? Or what's going to happen? And I thank, Goddess for like the homeschool moms, to be honest,
Yeah.
because they help me like process it. And I have this very good friend who's like the homeschool like queen, I would call her, and her kids are all older now, and she's like, it's okay, Kelly, like no matter what, like when they're older, you're gonna see it's okay. Like, how you're just
Yeah.
like, do they know this enough or that enough? Because homeschool kids are perceived as behind.
I
And why
know.
I say perceived is because we are the unschooling, homeschooling environment. We are letting their brains not become overloaded at a
Yeah.
young age. So they're taking space and energy with certain like, there's such a fight. Like you got to fit in this box. And if you're not like 5 years old reading and I see a lot of different things with homeschool. A lot of kids won't read till later, but they learn how to read and it's fine.
And that's the
Where,
developmentally
yeah,
okay. My son started very
yes,
late and he cannot
yes,
stop reading. Like in his
yes,
due time, it wasn't a forced process. And when it was developmentally ready, I even, schooled some peeps, and I really alarmed in California now how they're pushing younger and younger to get into school.
yeah.
So 3 and 4 years are holding pencils and drawing things. I go, it's not appropriate yet. It's play, it's mud, it's clay, it's washing dishes. It's the pencils will come, the letters will come, but the child development. And speaking of with that 9-year, the 9-year change was one of my favorites and favorite grades to work with because exactly what he said. I don't know what I want to do. So guess what? He's going to try it all and he's going to find it. So when I had a whole
Mm.
class of 9-year littles, we would try gardening and cooking and building and sculpting and all the things. And I could see, oh, there's the little builder. Oh, there's the conceptualize it, or there's the poet. You can see the 9-year, their little fires, the embers start to sizzle, and they're like, I like this. So you have to be able to introduce all those things to them. And I think the old education system model, they're just keeping them to the standardized test way. They're not giving them these enrichment activities that are truly part of our human nature. So I think it's precious and priceless what you're doing. But my $1 million question, your oldest son at that age of 9, was he the same way? Was he like, I don't know. Because it
I
seems like
felt like
finding his way right now.
yeah, I felt like at 9 for him, it was more, I felt like he had more interest, to be honest, because Rain is a very picture thinker, hands-on creator. I'm trying to remember it, but he was also in like Zoom school, but it was still like, I don't know, this Zoom school doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Like it's boring.
Yeah.
I think he also started to get bored. We started to see, is it boredom? Because it's like, what are we doing? Like, and there is a lot of experimentation. I feel like, I know in public schools or private schools, you don't really know what's fully happening. You really don't. And then you want the best for your child, of course, children. And then in unschooling, homeschooling, you're hoping you're doing the best as well. I feel like there's nervousness on both ends of like, am I doing good? And what's happening. But with Forrest, you just reminded me, he wants to do cooking, and we have these great cooking boxes that we get in the mail from like Morocco, like Japan, like Italy. They're very cool. And they tell you about history, and you get a little pin, and there's like 4 recipes, and they give you everything. You just have to buy the extra outside pieces, like the chicken, the meat, the vegetables.
Yeah.
It's a great like learning. So at first, Forrest could be a little like, and then he's like, the other day, he's like, he loved cutting. He loved cutting all the vegetables. And then he said, I'm Chef Forrest. And I'm like, yes. And what I've been doing is I've been in my Facebook world, I've been documenting it and sharing people what it looks like. So I don't think people understand what it looks like. And Forrest is also learning sign language now, and he really likes it. So it's like, we're trying to like, yeah. And then we're like today he's in the forest school, which is, he's out in nature, and he learns things there. They teach him, because I'm in a state where they hunt. So that they will teach him like not, I don't know what, like animal skinning, or even just the hide, like how they stretch it. They show things like that. And they do a bunch of things. And he took an experience in the summer and up in the mountains, which is like gorgeous. They were playing every day in the water.
Wow.
And just building like sticks, and like they look like full-on buildings. These kids were like, and they're also engaging in history and what they feel like, because I feel like more than anything, for every single child, the social emotional is so important. If a child is showing anxiety or depression, I'm like, I don't feel like children should even know what those words are, to be honest.
I know. I agree. And I think that's the beauty of having such an unschool for situation, is they're always in motion, and they always can take this skill set with a new environment of children and share their skill set. Sometimes when your kids are stuck in the same class with the same kids every day, they're unable to branch out, really. Now this cooking thing, he can take that and teach elders. It's awesome. Plus, if he's visiting the forest school today, he's with the big boys, isn't he? So they're all different.
There are different ages. You're right.
Okay.
And I really love that learning environment, because even Rain, he's 14, but he may be studying with 15, 16, 17-year-olds. It depends on where they're at. Because I asked him about that. They're not all in the same space, because obviously a 10-year-old and an 18-year-old are learning different things, but they have 2 separate pods that they intermix, and just see where the kids fall into to learn. And but socially, they technically can all play together, like basketball or something later on, or when they go in the water and when it's warm out, it's hilarious. They just making trouble and goofing around. And Rain will come home, and I'm like, "Why are you soaking wet? Like, you're gonna wet my car." And he's like, "Oh, someone threw a scooter in the pond, and we all just jumped in for it." I'm like, "I'm sure that was an accident. Like, this is an excuse to jump in the water." But it's very relaxed there in that environment. And I want my child to have a regulated nervous system. I want him to feel it's okay to feel stress and have challenge in learning. But it's also like, I don't think kids have like stomach aches or they're sick all the time. That's a big red flag to me. It's like, what's happening? Not, these learning environments, as you know, for children are also different. There are some children that are highly sensitive, and they're like kind of trying to understand who they are, where their body exists. And other kids are like, are not as highly sensitive, and they just have a different perspective and awareness of learning. So I
Mhm.
think we're learning along the way with our kids too.
Which
Like
is a
yeah.
blessing. It's a blessing. It's reminding us to be present, and these are the years you don't get back. This is
Yeah.
establishing the root of your family. And if these children have this root foundation with you, then as adults, they will still seek you and be connected with you at all times. Even if they branch off into the world, they will still seek your guide, connect with you. I think that's a fear of some parents. If you have a disconnect or someone else is really educating your children the most, then I mean, fright or flight takes over, and maybe your kid feels
Yeah.
they can't turn to you, or I don't know. I just find
It's
that
true. Yeah.
find a way to connect more with our children, and this is the perfect way just to give them the freedom they need with the safety net of home. I have a question about the guides there, the mentors there.
Yeah.
I bet they're pretty into it. They're probably choosing to do that job because
They're
they're
so
passionate about it.
amazing. Like I am
They
just
love
like
the
my
work.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah,
My heart is so full because some of them, I know one of them was a teacher in a public
awesome.
school.
Oh,
Yeah. And some they have really, really highly different experiential backgrounds that are really amazing. And I'm like, and then they're coming with their own hearts open to just serve these children and, you know, help them like become the best of who they are, And
mhm.
so I'm learning like we just went actually just because the kids had off a week this week actually. It's like it's nice like when you go to school it's like you only get Thanksgiving, you only get Christmas break like or maybe like Columbus or Yom Kippur, but it's like but they give them a whole week to just kind of rest, reboot, and like I'm like that's amazing. And we went in and we were just talking about like Rain really likes Adobe Photoshop, but they make them hand sketch and draw. And when Rain started last year, he came home with these pictures and we were like, Rain knew how to draw. We had no idea. Like, I don't think he
Wow.
knew. He didn't even know.
Wow. That's so
And we were
cool.
like, there was some really cool comic book kind of imagery. And I literally was looking at this going, wait, did he do this? Like, really? Like, but he didn't even know that was inside him. It was like, this is why with the mentors, we can call them even the guides. It's interesting that they don't call them the teachers. Like they
Mhm.
just, and there
Mhm.
is, words are important. And of course there's a sense of organization and authority. So it's not fully like Forest right now is like, there's so much different freedom. But my kids, both of them, like even when Rain wasn't in this holistic education, they love homeschooling. They would
Okay.
not trade it in. They love being restful and like sleeping. And I love keeping them in that space. And they're not sheltered. My kids, like they
You're out
game.
all the time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, but even like they game, they watch
Oh,
YouTube.
sure.
Like I'm
Sure,
not
sure.
like
Oh,
that
yes, yes,
that
yes.
strict. But when we
Right.
did a playground day and the kids are going off and disappearing, I really love that. Because
Right.
Heidi, when we were kids, we would disappear for hours into the
Yes,
woods.
with no contact. I
Exactly.
hope
Yeah.
they make it back in the dark. But
Yeah,
like
and
you said,
I'm
there's a
yeah.
balance. My kids game too,
Yeah.
and there's a balance, and they watch. But
Yeah.
I know very well that they are creator beings too, and that
Yeah.
there's boundaries. There's children
Yeah.
that do it to escape and numb out their world, and then there's those that I'm going to do it and create another world and just to
Yeah.
have fun in. And it's a very different concept there of watching why are the children doing it in the first place, and is there an addiction to it, or is it another tool that they know how to use and then put away?
I like that you're
It's
saying that because it feels like there's a lot of pressure with
a
gaming. My
lot,
kids probably
a
they
lot.
can game. Well, the little one's starting to game more than I'd like, but the older one, he actually talks to his friends in Los Angeles.
Yes,
It's a huge social tool.
yes,
Yeah, it's like,
he invested in his own with his own money, even his
uh,
gaming unit and his own little
yeah,
laptop and professional little headphones.
yeah.
But he talks to his friend in Croatia who moved to
That's what
Croatia,
I
and
mean.
it's
So
like,
that's where it's a different
yeah,
timeline. Like
it
I
is.
think you said something that felt really, really powerful to me is like they're not doing it to check out. It's like
Doing it to
there is
connect.
a socialization aspect to gaming. And I
Yeah.
know like, well, what does that mean? But there is, especially when they're like literally talking to kids. And I hear him like cursing and it's none of my business too, because
Yeah.
I don't want to be that parent that's like in there like, oh, you don't, I was listening to him. I'm like, oh, he sounds like he's being kind of mean to his friend right now. But I was like, they're just razzing each other. And I think
You
they
could hear
need to
the other
do
end.
that. I don't want to be, and I see this with parents, like they're running in so much with their kid and super sheltered. And I'm like, that's a little scary because
Yes.
real
Very
life is
outside.
going to be really intense. Like I came from cities. I went from New York to LA to like, and we were talking, we went to Portland and we had a situation in Portland where a car got broken into right away. So we were like, okay, like, and we were talking about, we went to the city part, like city smarts, and my kids, like, they were getting a lesson. And
Uh-huh.
I said, and me and my husband are very intuitive and city smart because we've been in really weird
Yes.
places where you have to know, like, where is your surroundings. And we've seen attempted crimes. I remember in New York, like not too long ago, we both, like, me and Rinny, we just like looked at each other, like we kind of gazed at each other and we looked at this woman and we think that this guy was getting ready to rob her. And we were just all walking down the street near Times Square. I think my energy got like, am I going to have to do something? And like, if my kids are here, do I protect the kids? And like, is interesting because then we talked about it, me and my husband, because he's like, yeah, I saw that too. We saw the same, but it was so subtle that you
Mhm.
can almost miss this potential situation. And then I was like, that's what I'm talking about, city smart. It's like, sometimes we do have to experience, I had to experience going to New York City growing up, like
Yeah,
running through
yeah,
the
yeah.
city
Yeah,
and then seeing
Chicago.
weird things or, yeah.
Yes. And
But it's
and
like,
the
yeah,
we want our children to have that intuitive
yes,
which we all have, to pick up
yeah,
on that, like something doesn't feel right. And I
yes,
get that. I have a lot of holistic pals out here that really, it's like I feel like I'm saying really dirty words when I talk Roblox. And they're like, I can't even believe you let your child. And I go, wait
yeah,
a second here. So you're saying I have not raised my child to be coherent enough to understand the signs. Like, I'm
mm,
putting my trust in my child that he's strong enough to notice the difference when something is wrong and right, and not to engage. And like, I'm not going to say this is absolutely not, because you know what he's going to do? He's going to sneak away,
yes.
and he's a teen, and do it himself without those boundaries in place now. So everything in moderation and a balance, but also we have to give a little faith and trust to our child that they're going to do the right thing. If we're modeling that behavior too, we have to model the behavior ourselves of boundary and, awareness. And the
Yeah.
helicoptery thing, it just delivers more
Yes. I
anxiety.
see that a lot. But you know
Yeah.
what too is like we have to let our kids make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I think we have to be conscientious of. And you're reminding me of a story. I just, well, so the kids are playing games and sometimes they play with each other, which is fun, like Minecraft or something, and they're
Yeah.
building together. And of course,
Yeah.
the older one can tease them, but anyways, but there was some kid, I guess, I don't know, like through Roblox, and they were using really inappropriate language. And then I was like, and then my older son's like, yeah, like that, and so then I went and we talked about it with Faris, and he's like, oh, I already blocked him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he did it himself, which was nice because we said,
Yes.
there's certain things, but and again, I don't know, like, and they are, we always wonder, like, is he listening to kids or adults? But they are kids because you can hear their voices. Like you
Yeah.
can't fake that.
Yes. You
And so
can't fake
kids are
that.
they're gonna test things. They're gonna
Yeah.
make those mistakes. And but I do, yeah, I think I dream of the days where kids are just super unplugged and they spend hours and days out in the, but I don't think that's really where we are consciously and collectively. Like there are moments like that, but I think also like kids in public school systems, what I notice is they're so tired of
They really
schooling, and then they have
feel the pressure.
homework, like, yeah, they're just tired. I was like, of course they're not running, out and playing, in the backyard. Like, it's just such a different time. And I'm still trying to understand it, to be honest.
I'm still trying to understand how it can still be in existence, because you're right. It's there. They have this huge, like 7 to 3 p.m. thing where
Yeah.
they're not getting their needs met. They're told they're getting their needs met. They're told they're up to standard, but are they? Have they truly led themselves through a child-led curriculum? Have they moved all parts of the body? Have they expanded in the ways developmentally appropriate, so that when they get home and finish all these homework and to-dos and pressure, they get in their room and they're just like, finally, I'm alone, and they check out, and then there's
Yeah.
no sleep. It's like they're missing that bit of them that's they're in control. They're doing what they like they're not getting the stimulation they need throughout the day, so they're creating it artificially at night. And it's like there's just got to be a better way to school and I guess some parents might be guilty too for allowing them to do it, because it does come to a parent allowing a child. So maybe there's guilt. Oh,
And
they work so hard, they can do it for the rest, all until the middle of the night. It's like,
well,
wait, they need sleep.
I think what happens too with parents, if they're working and their nervous system is dysregulated,
They do the same.
they have to check out, because
They do the same.
it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
subconscious trauma. It's like, like I need to check out. Like, it's like they're like, and then how do you find that balance? And then what happens is we become very separate. Like, I want to be very intimate with my children. I want to know how they feel if they want to share it. And we do have a very healthy social emotional. And I think maybe because my background is psychology, that I want to be engaged, and I want, without pushing, I want community and connection. And there's something, I hear these stories. I just don't think it's natural for children, especially teenagers, to have emotional mental illness. Like,
I know.
like I
Yeah.
do what I call
Trouble.
unconventional child therapeutic support. And to really look at that, like, it's just, yeah, there's some deeper family origin. Cause I'm like, that's not natural. And it's not natural to put children on pills. Like, I don't care. People can argue and hate me for it, but I've seen way too much. And I have a deep study in this field of not just spirit baby mediumship, but, even neuroscience and just the energetic psychology of it. Like, there's something more. And there's something so much more. And to me, it's very upsetting when
Oh,
some
yeah.
can't,
I think that's even a whole nother episode.
they can't tolerate their kid. That's what I hear. So we
I
need
see
to,
that. I see that. I also
yeah,
see maybe being lost themselves, a parent that
yeah,
they just they're looking outside themselves instead of maybe the maternal instinct. They're looking outside of
yeah,
someone. And if someone has the clipboard and the suit on, they're going to
yeah,
trust them. But I often, as I run into these children still, I go immediately to the roots. I go, how's their diet? How's the
yeah,
sleep? How's their connection to their family? And
yeah,
if those are broken, then I'm like, fix that first. Go for that
yeah,
first and see what the outcome is. Are they in nature? Like, it's all getting back to the
yeah,
roots, which is what I feel unschool and forest schools do too. It gets to the
yeah,
root of human nature, which is cyclical. It's our circadian rhythms of the day. We just get in back our body in balance with the planet, and the education comes. And I'm
yeah,
grateful that it's legal, but I'm also grateful that I hear you with are we doing it right? There's a paranoia about it because we've been schooled for so long,
mm.
especially us Gen Xers, that it's not the right way. It's the hippy dippy way. And I go, but
Yeah,
now we have the pleasure of seeing the outcome of what both can do. And it's like now being parents ourselves, being able to choose, because it's all a choice. We get to watch, and they're kind of our guinea pigs, but it's like we turned out one way, and then like we want to try something different for our children, and they're thriving. I don't know. I see your
yeah.
children thriving.
I
And
do. I feel like the systems, like I'm, as you're saying that, I'm like, I'm trying to deprogram and leave all systems, to be honest. Like, that's why I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I make, from me, it's like the medical systems, like they failed me so tremendously. And it's like, I'm my own doctor. I'm my own advocate, like my own inner. And I'm teaching my kids that, and they're healthy. Actually, they don't go to doctors. Like, there are actually children that don't go to doctors. I know people are probably like, what? It's really okay. And then even financial systems, hoping that future of like, what does that look like to just do it on my own? And now when someone's like, they'll say to my kid, like, we were at the museum and they're like, this is so funny. And his friend who was in school was visiting from out of state. And it was so much fun. And he turns, the guy's like, so you guys not in school? And the one kid's like, well, I'm on vacation, so I'm not in school right now. But he's unschooled. Hilarious. And I'm just like, oh, and it was so matter of fact, it was appropriate. And I started to tell people when they asked me with pride, like, oh yeah, he's unschooled. And nobody questions it because my energy is the authority of what it feels like. It's normal and it's okay. And
and then your
and it is
child
a
will
more,
yeah.
yeah, and it is a more relaxed. I'm sorry, unschooling and homeschooling, it's true. It is very more relaxed learning and connection to the world. Like,
Yes.
and maybe you're tuning in going, well, I love public school and private school. It's still high levels of stress, and that's okay. And that's your reality and that's your connection. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would question the microdosing and the vaping that's very rampant right now, even in private schools.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
I
have
want
them.
to know, like, energetically tuning in, my kid's getting older, is he probably will be pressured or seen in that environment, even with homeschool, unschool. But I'm also going to be open-minded about, let's, have conversations and
Yes.
see where, like, let's talk about things, not just feel
Critical
like,
thinking. Can they,
yeah,
when, because I think every child and human will come across some form of
yeah,
peer pressure or some at the pivotal moment in their life where they have a choice. And I've been teaching my son this. You have a choice in that moment that will be long term, that will last. So is this going to serve you? And do you have the confidence? And like Michaelmas just passed. Are you courageous to face the dragon and find the courage
mm,
within to say no, to walk away, to diffuse the situation? And I just feel that if the child is under duress and stress of a program that is made to fit them a certain way, mod them, they're gonna kind of, they're at risk of losing a part of them that's going to be able to navigate that safely.
mm,
There's Does that make sense? I think I'm passionate about that one because we are, I have teens as well. I have a
yeah,
15-year-old and Huck's
hmm,
now 12,
wow.
bigger than me. It's
Oh, really?
crazy,
I haven't seen it, you
crazy.
guys, are so long in
I
person.
know. I get my hugs every morning. I get kisses. I get
Yes.
snuggles. I get bedtimes. He's very much a little boy, but I see him flexing more and flexing who he is. But he knows his root is here. He knows it's stable. He knows what he's doing is okay. Oh, my point with that is at 12, we did have a Waldorf journey for a little while. So there was some structure. It
Mm.
was child led, but it was structure. When we had an opportunity to unschool, I noticed his development was much more solid. Like he craved
Wow,
attention.
yes.
And it wasn't like I had to open the books for it. He wanted to take things apart and figure out how it worked. He
Yeah,
wanted to, push his body to the limit. He found that without that level of stress, he had the confidence to explore more. And that's when the education comes in.
mm,
So the misconception that unschool and forest school, well, they're not going to know how to read and write. My daughter wrote a
yeah.
book.
Aw,
My son goes to the library every week and he can't consume enough books. Like it's a misconception. It's like, is the
mm,
child's ether body prepared to take in not information? Are they able to receive the knowledge? And honestly, the blockers for that is pressure and stress
yeah,
and bullying and fitting inside a box. And being an educator in a classroom that has a little bit of a structured day but is child led and hands on. We kind of have a little bit of both worlds in there, but I at least thankfully have the ability and the freedom in the class to restructure things for different children. Some
yeah,
can take things to pen and paper well, others need to express it in another form. Oops, and all of it should be okay. So
yeah.
I don't know if you want to say something to that, but I lost my light, but that's okay. I wanted
Oh.
to, oh well, it's just
No, I feel like you're inspiring me because I'm like, okay, you're doing this good. Okay, yeah. Because
well,
you're
we've
making
always
me
wanted to
think.
talk about this,
I know, and you're making
yeah.
me think about, like, with Forrest's learning, because that I got nervous about, because we had so much trauma in 2024, right? We lost two dads.
Oh
And
my
then it
goodness.
was like, you're just like, when you're in grief, you're just like, you don't even know what's happening. And then the moving was grief. And then it was like, oh, now we're like a year in, like, oh, let's, like, yeah, what do you want to do? Like, one of the things he does is swimming too,
Awesome.
for more, like, yeah, to learn, because we said to, our kids, like, my older one knows, but it's like, you got to be a good swimmer if you're going to be floating the river and swim
Mm.
in the lakes, because that's all we have here. And it's like, that's the goal. But there's also these inventor boxes we get. And my husband was saying the other day, like, oh, he really likes building these things, these little, like, mini weapons, and, like, or little, like, one was like a coin shooter. I don't even know, but it was like, okay, we're getting onto something, like more of that building, like you talked
Engineering.
about.
Mhm.
Yeah. And, visiting the library, kind of looking around and seeing. And Forrest's actually a really excellent reader. And he can read really big words, but he's not so interested in it. Like, he was
Mm.
for a while, and then he's just like, he wants to, like, dress up and jump on things and play. Like, I was like, okay, like,
Yeah, yeah. He's testing his
yeah,
body. I noticed with
yeah,
9-year-olds, it's like Stuart from that show. Look what I can do. Look what I can do.
yeah,
They're in this, oh, what's this? I want to try it. I want to try it. I
yeah,
want to try it, whether they like it or not. And
Yeah.
then, but getting that developmental body in place, getting the
Mm,
child development steps, getting the confidence built, then comes the soak of the knowledge. I've
mm.
always also been told, this is, I guess, a Steiner philosophy, but I just noticed from watching and educating that the grades, through eighth,
Yeah.
are experimental. That's
Mm.
physical. That's hands-on. That's dirty. That's messy. That's expressive. 9 to 12 gets a little more studious. And then if you
Oh,
really want,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that
if
makes
you,
sense.
yeah, and then that's a little more, okay, let's test your knowledge here with a bunch of
Yeah.
subjects. And then if you really are like, I'm academic, I need my academics,
Mm.
there's your college round. There's your go explore a subject and have different philosophical teachers and educators and all this kind of stuff. But K through 8, what is K even anyway? But through
Yeah.
8 is, yeah, it's explore. What can you do? What did you come
Yeah.
here with? What did your body, how are you born here? What makes you tick? Just play with these things and the rhythm comes. That's why they encourage music and instruments and
Yeah.
string and movement. It's like, do all the things and let what's supposed to come, let what you came in this world with come through naturally
What
and
beautiful
explore it.
permission that is, right? Because I feel like when you say that, even in my body, I can feel like I was just pushed, like, no, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. But it's like,
Mhm.
where's that natural creative flow? And there
Yeah.
is a deep level of heart trust in that.
Yeah. It's
Like,
it's
you
it's
know?
our own deprogramming and unschooling,
Yeah.
like you said. I go on all these threads. I need a curriculum. I need this
Yeah.
curriculum. And I'm just like, we went to the grocery store and we like made a
Yeah.
list and we did that.
Well,
Like,
I
I'm like,
remember when we first started homeschooling, it was in the pandemic, and it was
uh-huh.
like we were like, we need a curriculum because
Yeah.
that's what we thought." And
I
then
go,
we
curriculum.
literally had all these boxes of curriculum. We gave them all away,
Never
and
touched
luckily
them. Yeah.
we had the homeschool fund, so they paid for them, but we didn't because it was so complicated.
I'm
I
like
was like,
this.
"I can't."
Yeah.
I was like, "I need to get a job in teaching just to teach
Yeah.
this whole." It was this English thing, and I was like, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah.
But I think, and I know I know what you're saying. I see those in groups like, what do I do? And it's like, I love all
Yeah.
these moms. Like, it's okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
relaxed. But we have to, I was told we have to unschool ourselves a lot in order to get to that next level. And then we got into a rhythm. Like
Yes.
someone once told me, I thought it was the wisest insight. Kelly, the first year may be a wash. Do not worry about it.
Ours was.
I needed to hear
Yeah.
that
Yes.
because you're just like, you're unschooling, you're deprogramming. So you don't even know what's happening. But the
Mhm.
number one thing I really loved about the homeschooling, unschooling is I love being rested. I love that everybody can sleep.
That's all I thought of. The first thing I thought of, I go, that first year we slept like crazy, but
Yeah.
we snuggled and we stayed in
Yes.
jammies and we
Yeah.
baked and we watched. We watched stuff. We checked
Yeah.
out. We did, but we were together. And then when we
Yeah.
started the school process, they didn't want a
Yeah.
teacher. They wanted mom. And I'm
Yeah.
like, if that mom connection is there, I realize they're gonna move into their own academics on their own, knowing I'm there, trusting I'm there as
Mm.
mom. I'll
Mhm.
always be there, but they're going to do the exploring and find what interests them. And honestly, that was the hardest part. It was like, but I have to do something. I have to do something. I go,
I
do I
know.
though? Do I? And then now being told, hey, you have your own class. You get to teach them. I go, okay, what do I teach? What do I teach? The worst days in the classroom were when I forced. I go, I have to teach
Yeah.
this lesson and this is what I'm going to do. And then I didn't flow with them. When I started to flow and feel what their day was like, I go, you know what? Geography, screw it. It's going to be all theater games. Well, pretend like you're walking through the desert.
Yeah.
I shared last week with Isabel Amy about that expression and drama we talked about. And I go, the kids got the concept. They knew it. So
Yes.
then when it came time to draw it and write it, it was already ingrained in their bodies. So then they're like, oh, I
Mm.
can conceptualize this. The desert was this and this, and they were descriptive in writing, and it was
Yeah.
beautiful. It just comes, and we don't give enough
You have
faith
to
in
be
our
so
children.
yeah,
Mhm.
you have to be so intuitive and willing to change, right? And pivot
A
in a
pivot.
different
Yeah.
direction. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
When I didn't, I had
Yeah.
tears in my eyes, and they're like, "Miss Heidi, are you okay?" And I go, "Miss
Yeah,
Heidi is
yeah.
not coasting well." And even parents were like, "We heard you. It was a tough day." I go, "I did not pivot with them." I go, "They needed me to be
Oh
flexible,
my gosh, I love
and
that
I
you
wasn't."
share this. I love
Oh,
that you share this because in the years of homeschooling the boys, I remember there was a time in Topanga that I just had to leave the room and just cry because I was like,
yeah,
what is happening? They're not listening. I don't know what we're doing. So then I'd be like, all right, everybody, field trip. Let's get out of the house. Let's go up on this hike. Let's go find a cave. And then I was like, gosh, Kelly, like that would be so much nicer than like, we got to go do this. And I'll never forget one time I had them doing math and it was like pen and paper. I was like, let's just do this. And my little one was fine. He sat there, did it. My older one, kinesthetic learner, very physical, literally on the floor, breaking the pencil. And I'm just like, yeah, like this is what we're doing for
This is
math
what
right
it is.
now.
How
And
many
then,
pieces are those?
yeah, I was
Two.
like,
Half.
okay. I was like, but it's
Fractions.
interesting because that's my boys have completely different learning styles. And
Mine
both are
too.
just so appropriate for who they are. And it's
Mhm.
just, it makes me laugh now. But I've had those moments. That's why I'm saying it's not just like, oh, whimsical and joy. Like I've had moments where I had to go secretly cry going, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? I'm so stressed. And because again, it's that program that's like, you got to be doing something. So the other day, Forrest, we're going to do some words, but he didn't really want to. And all of a sudden, I had this book I got from the library about wind and tornadoes. So we started acting it out every page, and he
Awesome.
loved it. And he was reading it, and I was like, oh my gosh, Kelly, this
Yeah.
is so brilliant. I was going to sit there, we are going to read it, but he was acting it out, and he was so engaged. It was so beautiful. And then I was like, let's go. We have this whole nature thing on the side of the property where it's just open land. So everybody made like cool trails. So we go. So I'm like, we're going to go do Mad Libs. So we did
Awesome.
Mad
How
Libs.
fun.
So
And
it's
out
like,
in nature too.
yeah,
Mhm.
and learning. It's like
That's
he's
so fun.
moving. We get to feel the earth. And then after that, he wanted to play other games. Like he's like, I'm going to close my eyes on the hike and you have to guide me. I'm like, okay, so then it becomes this thing. And then it's like, okay, what are we doing? Like, we have a lot of games and someone said there's something called game schooling. And I really want
Yes.
to like look into that.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say
yeah,
everything you just said is a form of curriculum. It
there you go.
is learning. And if we go consciously and look really deep at the public at the old systems, what is the chunk they get? Like what is it? What is the actual root? Are they recreating humans that can serve out,
Mm,
do well in society and be of service and be treat others well? Or do we know kids that can figure out this math problem? Like there's just a like
mm,
narrow down that whole 7 hours into how much is the education that they soak in, what is worthy to them being human, and then versus what you just did, which was your child had freedom to express himself, freedom to say no, to say yes, and that they walk into like a grocery store and they interact with another person as a child who's consciously awake thinking, well, I don't agree with that and I'm not like you can tell when you have a conversation with a child who what their education journey is really. Kind of said a few things at once there, but I get a little
No, but then,
excited about this stuff.
I love it. I love it because it really is inspiring to me. I think I need to talk more about like my own experience with others. Like I'm
Yes.
being really honest. Like this is like, I'm not holding back. I'm like, because I do think like, of my own unschooling and my own triggers, like it's such a big space. And I have a few triggers like in my life because I've been through the trauma of it. And
Yes.
so I'm slowly unwinding it through my nervous system to find where my baseline is. And my goal is to raise like conscious, healthy, empathic boys that know who they are, that feel like they're in their bodies. Cause I never had that are healthy enough to know like how to make innovative, creative decisions to the life, to the world. And,
Yeah.
um, and, and I'm a part of that. Like if I was just going to take them and make them learn things that I think they should learn, or, like for example, history, I'm very much on the fence about history
Right.
because I'm like,
Yes.
I was told like all these old white guys invented everything, but it's not true, but that's what I was told. And it's like, so when my son recently was like, he made a comment about history, or I'm always saying we don't really know because we really don't.
I
We
say that to the
created, yeah.
class. Yeah.
I was like, but that's interesting. Let's look at that and be
Yes.
curious about it. But I feel like I'd be telling lies to say, my son
But
the other day,
yeah.
it was like, it was so in my heart. And he said to me, why isn't everything for free
Oh, I
in the
saw that little
world?
post. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really deep to me because it
That
was
is
like,
deep.
because we're in a world that requires money for everything. And it's not the way the world was supposed to be. That's a whole other conversation. It really, not
Yeah.
even barter. We're supposed to live freely and be in the world in a certain way. And it was hard. And I don't think I had the right answer because I don't want to pollute his reality and his mind
Right.
with
Right.
stuff. And
Right.
I
Well,
want to
yeah.
keep their innocence,
Mhm.
and their purity and who they become. Who they're becoming is who they're becoming, not becoming me.
Right.
you know?
Right. Yes. I know I have to start I'm going to start winding down here a little bit,
Yeah.
but I wanted to just reiterate that the education comes. Like the children who are unschooled and they force schooled, the academics come with. You will be so surprised how well schooled and versed a child will become when they have the freedom to expand. And I think unschooling and forest schooling allows for that. We have a few more episodes we can do this, Miss Kelly, but I'm just saying we could go on forever. I love it.
I know.
I wanted to know, you have a couple places. We have Spirit Baby Medium where people can reach you, but I know New Earth Children is your baby. Well, they both are your babies, but
Yeah, we all
is
go
this the
through the
best
same
place to find
direction.
you? Yeah.
newearthchildren.com, and a lot of the area that I support is conception, pregnancy, and birth loss, but I do have a special section for children and children readings, and I get to the really heart cause and root of physical, emotional, mental, energetic things that come up, and have even a plan to, like, how do you support a child in that way. And I've recently been working more one-on-one with teens, and it's a per connection experience, because I'm not a typical, cognitive bullshit, like I'm like, so, we talk and there's a connection, but I also bring in the nervous system aspect for children, especially when they're older. Like what's it feel like in your body right now? Let's just sit and hang out. And I could really tune in, to where they are, and then they're feeling empowered by they are. And of course, I have even an extra specialty in the supernatural. If they're sensitive, psychic children, we didn't talk about that. Another
I
episode. My
know.
children had experiences, and I get to see them, be a part of them, without feeling like it's not weird, it's strange. It's just, okay, that's just who you are, where you are, and there's something empowering in that, because that's connected to intuition, to feeling, to sensing, to energy, and that is the future of our humans. Like, that is where we're going, because we have the wisdom, the intelligence, it's all here.
Yes. Oh, beautifully said. If there's any way, if I can wrap it all up with the unschool forest school, and I'd like to hear your final thought of this. In my opinion, the education will come in these models, but are your child's needs being met, and is their nervous system settled? When it is, then those ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, it all comes. You just have to trust that your state, I know our states do things differently, right? If you're considered a homeschooler in California, you have to follow certain protocols. You do have to adhere to these what your state classifies as a homeschool journey. But what I'm thrilled to see is that more parents are ready to receive the choices, because it's all a choice that they have when it comes to educating their children. So would you do it all over again? If you were starting over tomorrow, Kelly, would you choose the path you've been on?
Absolutely. And what I want to say to everybody is, you are capable of educating, schooling your child in the world, and keep doing it. Keep looking. If you are just tired of systems and all this BS, like, you are consciously evolving and you're done with it. And you can have healthy, thriving humans that are a part of the world in powerful, creative, innovative ways, and keep at it. Don't give up. And just do it together. Like, some kids want to experiment, private schools, public schools, homeschool, like, do it together and really have a heart to heart connection in it. But you can do it, and keep doing it. Yes.
You can do it. Please contact. You can reach Kelly or myself at any time. Kelly, I look forward to doing this again with you sometime. Thanks for always helping me out with these shows and sharing your best self, because it rocks.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.